Hi, comic book fans, and welcome to suddenlycomics.com. It's a Monday night, it's the price variance, and boy, have we got a show for you tonight. Okay, so at Heritage last week, they had one of their prime sales or something like that, where they get some really great books in and they hype it up. And there have been some simply astonishing sales, some of which you are going to see here in the next five comics. But there were some amazing sales in the first five that we looked at on Allan's channel. A Vampirella 9.8 selling for 4 to 5 times its previous record. Yep, nearly $80,000 for a Vampirella 1. Where have I misspent my life? Right. Okay, so let's share the screen. And there is that. I'm going to show that Vampirella to everybody. There you go, guys. There is an £80,000 comic. If you've got one in your attic, go and get it out. Okay, so that's not what we're looking at. We are looking at, I think we're looking at Amazing Spider-Man number 8.
Mm-hmm.
The
This is
first
an
appearance of
interesting one.
Electro.
Yeah, in a 9.8.
In a 9.8, yes, in a 9.8. I think it's worth adding that. Um,
And it's white pages as well. I was like with these high-end books,
yeah,
it's always important to note the page quality because that can really make a difference, actually.
this is super,
So,
super,
so
super.
this is the best you can get.
The best you can,
9.8 white pages. But it's
right?
an old label actually, which is interesting.
And this sold for $126,000.
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly! Right, okay, Alan, do you think that is a record or is it not?
Uh, I would actually say that's a record. I think that's
It's
a
surely
really strong
120.
sale. That seems like a very strong sale for this book.
Surely it's a record. Oh, it's very close. It's very close. I'm going to call that though 132 in COVID peak. So 126 outside of COVID is damn good.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong sale. It's not a
It's not a
record
record,
record.
but in
It's
reality,
the next best thing. Yeah.
it's really strong. I mean, guys, if you'd bought this for $26,000 in 2015, 9 years later, you can get 126,000. You've added $100,000 in 10 years. That's not
Hmm.
bad investment, is it?
Yeah, it's a pretty strong sale. I mean, anything that approaches those COVID sales in this market is a strong sale. Like just anything that's even in the ballpark. This is in that ballpark. Very strong sale. Which is interesting because Electro is not that major of a character.
No, and we're not likely to see him again anytime soon, are we?
They are talking about bringing him back, I think, but you know, who knows?
There's
Who
nothing
knows?
firmed up, I don't think.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, let's have a look at. Oh, we've got a DC. Oh, 810,000.
Yeah, so a bit of a jump in terms of prices now.
What? I've no.
This is
This has got to be a record, Alan. I don't think I've
yeah.
seen anything like this on a Brave and the
So
Bold
this is
comic.
Brave and the Bold 28, the first appearance of the Justice League of America.
This is one of
And
Alan and I's favorite comics.
yeah, first appearance of Starro, first cover appearance of Aquaman and Martian Manhunter. So a whole bunch of things going for this book. This is an awesome book. You got a team appearance and they're actually fighting something on the cover. That's just, it's always great.
Well,
It's weird
I've
that they
always
went with
viewed
a
this as being a heavily
surface.
undervalued comic, but I think this is about to change.
Yeah.
I don't think 110,000, 810,000 undervalues this.
Well,
Um,
it almost puts it into that $1 million club,
it
which
does. It
which
does.
is pretty
Uh,
pretty
I
major.
don't think there are any 9.8s of this, Alan.
Okay. So is this top of the census?
I think it might be. So let's have a look.
1,500 of them altogether, and 9.6 is top of the census,
It's the top of the census, and there's only 194. Look at this,
and
Alan.
only
It's the
1,996
only
book.
one. It's the first time it's sold.
Okay, what did the 9.4 sell for?
Well, yeah, but
We have to.
9.4 sold for 60,000 in 2004. The most recent
Wow.
the most recent comparable sale is a 9.0 that sold in 2020 for 49,000. But this is 20 times that.
Wow. I mean, this is just a massive sale
This
then.
is a huge
We have
sale.
nothing to compare. We have nothing to compare
Well,
it
it's the
to.
only one. It's the only time it's ever sold. Um,
Wow. That is so cool.
I mean, the
So, I mean, this
previous
is
high
like
sale
watching history.
previous high sale on one of these, which is the top selling comic in the Brave and the Bold series, was 60,000, and it's just gone up to 810,000. That is astonishing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like usually you get sort of a doubling effect for each grade after a 9.2. So 9.4s or, so
But the problem is none of these, there's only 194, and that hasn't sold for 20 years. There's three 9.2s, and the people just hang on to these, Alan. You know, there's
yeah,
there are 10 9.8s, 10 nines, but even then it's 4 years since one sold. Um,
yeah, I mean this
I mean, these are
crazy
rare
stuff.
books that we're not talking the Marvel numbers here. This is probably one of the highest of the numbers of these of Brave and the Bold. There's 1,279 universals. Um, you know, uh,
I think this is, we were talking about this earlier, how certain books will drive up the prices of other books,
yeah,
like the other books within. I think this is definitely, now that you have that ceiling, I guess, the top price for the
yeah.
book,
The
I think
top.
it's
This
gonna
has got to
drip up
trickle
everything
down.
else.
This
Yeah,
book has been heavily undervalued for years and years and years and
yeah,
years. I think that's a fantastic sale. We are seeing each week now, Alan, we are seeing records on DC keys.
yeah. I think it's partly because there's a lot of excitement. People sort of lost their enthusiasm for Marvel. Marvel just keeps on putting out bad products each time, right? Just every time. Like Echo just came out and it was terrible. But DC, even though Aquaman didn't necessarily do well, there's a lot of hype associated to what's his name? James
James
Gunn
Gunn. James Gunn.
taking it over, and his movies have consistently done well.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of people are like saying, okay, well, if Marvel's not going to produce good stuff, where is the good content going to come from? It's going to be at DC. And I think finally, maybe we're getting the recognition on for DC's great content. I mean, people have been speculating on DC since the 90s. I remember like always saying, oh, DC is so undervalued. Well, maybe now it's finally getting the recognition. So it's pretty cool.
that is an amazing sale. I wonder what Heritage gave us an estimate on this to the seller.
I
I bet they told him about 500.
Yeah, something like that. Let's see. It sometimes puts in the notes below. Let's see.
When it gives
They
the Overstreet valuation.
And
Uh,
what's the industry
the
valuation?
Overstreet is a 9.2 at 94,000.
Okay. So if you double, that's the way you would figure out the price. So
That's about
90,000.
500. I reckon they probably said about 500. So I reckon this has gone way over. This is,
Yeah, that's a big sale. That's so funny. That's awesome. It's great to see such a strong sale
I'm really
for this
pleased
book.
with that one, Alan. That's cheered me up no end for the Silver Age comic market because I think that'll trickle down.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Oh, very exciting. Okay, that's made my day. All right. Oh, here we go. Look, there's a Mother Marvel now. We looked at the Hulk 2 last week.
And it did well.
It did
And it
well.
did
I think
well.
it has a slight record, didn't it?
Yeah. No, this is a major one. This is,
This is
Hulk number
volume
one,
two.
first appearance of Hulk. And now we get it. I think this is the Betty Ross. I always get just getting the names mixed up.
Yes, was Betty Ross? So it's like a trivia question, Alan, for you. Was Betty Ross in Hulk 1 or Avenger, the first appearance of Thor?
No, I think it's this one.
It is this one.
Um,
Rick Jones, Betty Ross, and General Ross.
General Ross, yeah. So yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I haven't had much sleep. Um,
Look at this.
I'll blame the
This
sleep.
is
I'll blame the
amazing. You
sleep.
never see this in this condition.
I always love this book too because this is one of those covers they homage a lot. I think it's an interesting thing. This is he a man or a monster? I
Yeah,
think it's just
yeah,
great. It's got a very Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde feel to it. Like you
yeah,
got, him wearing the lab coat is
yeah.
such a great book. It's the first appearance of the Gray Hulk, lots of things going for it.
This has got to be a record, hasn't it, Alan?
Yes, I would say so. 825,000. That seems
825. And
really.
we did have a small peak on Hulk last week. So I think this is going to be a record. A 92825. Oh my goodness, it is gone ballistic.
What was the
Here we
previous
go. The
sale?
previous sale in November 20th, there's only 6 of these, was at 336. So we have got a doubling of the record.
Actually, more than double. It's
More
almost
doubles, more
almost
than doubles.
almost triple. Not quite like 2.5 times.
Two and a
It's
half.
like,
Yeah.
wow, that is huge.
That is
Uh,
massive. Well, we haven't seen anything like this on a Marvel comic for ever.
yeah,
Well, since
yeah. I
COVID,
mean,
since COVID
and
started.
this of the Marvel keys, though, this is the hardest to find. This is always the hardest to find. It's a low census count.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Only
I mean,
1,475 universals.
2000, but
Only 8 of
it's just
these 9.2s.
yeah, it's a hard book to find though. Just in the wild, it's like,
Oh, the highest grade is a 9.4, Alan. What was 9.4? What's that 9.4 worth now?
geez, it's probably in
It'll be in the
the
million.
like
It'll be over a
1.6
million.
million. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be like 1.6. You double it, right? You double whatever the lower
yeah,
grade is at this
yeah.
point. Wow, that's insane. Basically that's saying that Hulk #1 is $1 million club book.
Well, it definitely is. If the
If
nine
there's a 9.4, right? Yeah.
692s and that's gone for 800, so the 9.4 has got to go for over a million, surely.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those books that people just don't sell. It's very rare. It's hard to get, and people just keep it in their collections. Wow, that's pretty massive sale. Wow.
Yowza, this
And
is the big sale. There's a big sales here this week, Alan. The Silver Age market, it looks to be coming to life now, whether it's these have got to trickle down though. These have got to trickle down to the lower grades. Um,
mhm,
yeah, it's setting a new high point. Right. Very
very cool.
exciting. Okay,
Mhm.
next up, and another great comic in a very high grade. See, showcase
It's
issue
#4.
4.
First Silver Age appearance of the Flash.
Yeah,
This is actually an interesting one because I was actually going to say this when talking about the Hulk, that this is the Hulk one of for DC Silver Age. It
yeah,
is such a hard book to find. It's like it's all the same stuff. It's like it's such a major key because it is the book that first started the Silver Age. You know, it is the silver, like this book. I would say was the book that inspired the concept of superheroes again. Superheroes had lost their importance. They had just sort of almost been given up on, and this book changed that. It brought superheroes back into comics.
it took a bit of time
um
though, Alan. I mean, this was 1956. It was
oh
61
yeah.
before we got the Marvel explosion.
Well, it was just that DC started really, up till Fantastic Four #1, DC was doing DC was the dominant in the market for
Yeah,
Silver Age, and then Marvel was like almost bankrupt. It was like it was going to disappear, and they took one last shot at it, and they looked to DC for inspiration. So I consider this to be the book for the Silver Age.
right. Well, on the
Such a book.
basis of the last two, I think this is going to be a record again.
Yeah, 900,000. Wow, another
900,000.
almost $1 million club book. That's really great.
It's going to be a
Showcase
record, isn't it? What was it? A nine? What was it? A 9.6?
9.6. This is top of the
Oh, it's the highest
census,
grade. It's the only one.
and there's only five. Look,
Oh,
see what I'm
Alan,
talking about? Yeah.
Alan, you need to have bought this. There's only one of these. It sold once before uh, in 2009 for 179,000.
Wow, 9x. Wow, that's
I think
awesome.
about 8x, but still.
Yeah,
Um,
still. Wow, that's insane. You look at the census number though, 591 or something like that, right?
oh
I can
yeah,
barely.
yeah, 500, and this is the only one. This is the only 9.6.
Yeah,
Uh,
and top of the census, this is the book.
it's even rarer than that Hulk, a lot rarer than the Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
And this is
nobody
rare
sells
even for
these.
DC, right? You
Nobody
know,
sells these, Alan. There's 294s, never sold. 292s, never sold. The last 90 sold in 2011. This is a very, very rare book to come to market. There's only
yeah,
one, and the last person has had it for nearly 14 years. And they've let it out of their grip. And boy, was it worth it, because they've just boosted their pension fund by nearly $1 million.
yeah. I mean, as I said, this is one of those books you never see it. It's like a ghost. It's hard to get. People that buy it, they keep it. It's like such a major book. And I always loved it. It's a Carmen Infantino cover,
It
I
is, I
believe.
think. Yeah, I think it is Carmen Infant.
Um, just a really great one. I just always love that book. I actually had like when I bought, I actually have this in my collection.
Yeah,
It's
Infantino and Cuba.
yeah. When I wanted this book, there was actually I did some like research on this book, and there was two copies that I had a chance to buy. One was like just beat like barely, like the cover was all ripped, and that's generally what you can find, like a cover that's barely there.
Yeah.
And then the copy that I got was just a really nice presenting. I think it's a 2.0. So
Well, I think your
uh,
2.0's currently got a fair market value of 11,000. I think that's about to double. I'll be surprised
yeah,
if
I paid about half that for my copy.
yeah, well, yeah, there's only 28 of them. I think that'll be worth 20,000 before the end of the year, Al.
Oh yeah, easily, easily. I always sort of estimated at that 20 to 25,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
very beautiful.
Oh,
So
what
another big sale. So
a
that's
massive
oh
sale. Right. Now, this
yeah.
last one, guys, I do moan about Alan putting this comic on. I'm not going to moan about it.
Don't you can't moan about it this
I'm not
time.
going to moan about this one. It is an Amazing Spider-Man issue one in a 9.8, and it is a pedigree.
And white pages, and this is like
White pages. I mean, what is not going for this?
this is the best of the bestest for this book. You, yeah.
I mean, unless somebody gets a 9.9, which I cannot see as possible, uh,
Mhm.
that is incredible.
And
Uh,
which pedigree is it? Like
it's
we
called
should.
the Curator
I
pedigree.
think yeah, the curator pedigree. Okay, so I think the curator pedigree, and somebody was telling me a little bit about it, is it's just this guy who basically curated his books. He went for the best of the best in
Yeah.
the Silver Age. So yeah, just amazing collection. Very
Wow.
cool book.
Okay. I mean, I have looked at what this sold for. Um,
Well, this one when it sold, it was like the talk of the town. This was a pretty major sale. So
let's have a look,
how much
Alan.
did it sell
What
for?
it sold for um, nearly 1.4 million.
So this is now $1 million book.
So
It's
this has never sold for over 1 million, I don't think. Amazing Spider-Man.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so ever.
So this is just, let's have a look. There are only two 9.8s on the census.
4,000 copies on the
It's never
census.
sold. A 9.8 has never sold. So the nearest we've got is
A 9.6 or
yeah,
something.
9.6 has sold at some stage, surely. It's 9.8 again. Let's have a look at all overview. So the last sale was a 9.6. Um,
Oh,
at
it actually had a bit of a jump too.
it
When
did.
was that
It went
sale?
up to 500,000. So that's about right then. Double, double, double,
Yeah,
double.
usually you double. Yeah.
Yeah, that was July last year. So No COVID effect on these high grade Amazing Spider-Mans. It does affect the lower grades, but not these high grades. Amazing. So there you go. 1 point. No, it's double, more than double. It's nearly treble the last 9.6 sale. Uh,
Yeah.
one
But
point.
the last 9.6 sale was when? Did you say? Um,
July last year, July 23.
wow. So that's really a really strong sale. But you also have the pedigree effect where you get a little bit of a boost on the pedigree. Yeah.
So you weren't
So
bidding for
wow.
that one then, Alan?
No, no, no. I decided to pass on it. I had a reserve. I think it was like $10 or something.
Oh,
No,
wow.
this is not something I would even bid on. I knew like I didn't even bid on anything in this auction, just like pure transparency. I knew that there was nothing I could afford. It's just like it's just but wow, such a great book. I always think it's funny, like if you look at what they advise the value to be, it's like, like way it's like a fraction of what it sells for.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, when something there's only two
So,
9.8 copies of Amazing Spider-Man issue one. I mean, somebody's gonna go loopy, aren't they? There's some people with lots of money out there. I bet this is going to be in a bank vault.
yeah,
This is somebody's trust fund. This is going to
yeah,
sit.
this is the big, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because like I wouldn't have thought of this as being $1 million book in a way
No,
because
because there's lots of them, aren't there? There's loads of these
there's
things.
lots of them and it's not
There aren't
it,
lots of
it,
9.8s, but there's lots of
it
uh,
is like the first Amazing Spider-Man book, like the series that, but I think that's what's really going for it. But um, it's not Amazing Fantasy, you know, it's not his first appearance. Um,
no,
but
there are 4,800 of these. So
yeah.
it's not like some of the others we've looked at where there's only 250.
But as we see, this is the first time a 9.8 has sold, and it's
Yeah.
the only 9.8. So
Yeah.
that kind
Well,
of
there's two 9.8s. There is another
oh,
one.
two 9.8s. So probably the other one is like maybe probably not a pedigree, I would imagine.
Who
So yeah,
knows? I mean, we've never
who
seen.
knows?
Um,
Yeah, just never see it. But that's
well,
what I'm talking about. The type of buyers that go to these things are wanting the best of the best. So this is like that kind of auction, right? Where you get like the big buyers come out. It's like people I'd love to meet these people and interview them and see their collections. I imagine they'd be insane.
oh, it's going to be a very boring accountant who's buying it as an asset for a
I don't think so.
multi-million pound fund.
Yeah, who knows? But just an amazing book, amazing sale. It's good to see a Marvel key actually finally get a big record.
Well, two of them, Alan. The Hulk went for a stonking
I
record.
know. Yeah, yeah. Two
This one
amazing.
went for a stonking record. The Brave and the Bold went for an amazing record.
DC did well. DC did really well.
Yeah,
Any of the DC books that we saw had made big records. It's just
yeah, yeah. Oh well, there we go. What a fantastic set of sales, Alan. That will
Mhm,
cheer. Hopefully, that will cheer everybody up. I
mhm,
said the words that it was last week on my video that this was the Silver Age market recovering, and I have to say, I know we're looking at very rare, big, big end range books, but these trickle down. These sales tend to trickle down because they set a
mhm.
new high mark for the value. For
Yeah.
a period of time, the prices are just reflecting the high value sale. So,
It's and when you get these kind of really big sales like this, it excites people. It
yeah.
makes them, wow, comics are worth something. And they get excited, they get back into the hobby. So it's really, I think this is very encouraging.
Yeah.
So sell your gold, buy comics. That's the advice that Mark is giving this week.
Sell your gold, buy your comics. Right, let's stop sharing. Okay, comic book fans, that is your lot. What a fantastic set of sales. Make sure you go to Alan's channel. There's some more fantastic sales over there. And tune in next week because we can see whether the comic market is continuing to recover. I think we are seeing the little seeds of recovery here.
Mhm.
in the last 2 weeks. I think we might have bottomed out earlier than we thought. But who knows? Let's keep an eye on the market. Tune in next week. Bye, Alan.
But